No crime committed so far. But my question is, this young person violated HIPAA laws, Anahita. Doesn't the hospital have a liability here?
Absolutely. That's the first thing I thought of when I read this, Dr. Drew. And it's interesting because the hospital is saying this kid was never around any patients. He was never in any of the hospital rooms. But the doctor that caught him in one of the patient rooms while the doctor was doing the exam. So we don't know. But definitely the hospital needs to revamp their security because there are so many HIPAA violations here. This kid had access to all of these patients' medical records, the documents, medication, medical instruments, and God knows what else. So not only is this a PR nightmare, but the liability is
massive.
Huge here.
I mean, listen, apparently Sam was just saying that he was getting records from a doctor to another. That is a HIPAA-protected communication that any of those patients can look back and go, hey, that's malpractice.
Absolutely.
Right? So this business about there being no liability, no wrongdoing, there could be 50 patients that could have a case here, or hundreds, who knows? Wow.
Yeah, their liability is huge here. I mean, the fact that he even merely had access to those records is enough for a HIPAA violation.
Karama, can you imagine this?
I mean, who knows if they opened it or not, but it was returned.
What's that, Anahita? You're nodding your head like, oh, yeah, of course they did. What do you mean?
No, of course they returned it. He has no obligation to sit under oath and give any type of testimony. He's not a party to any lawsuit. And all we know, Dr. Drew, at this point as fact is that he met this girl or he knew this girl because they have a picture together. That's it. Everything else at this point is an allegation. He's denied it, and he made a very short statement, which I agree with publicly. He has no obligation to speak anymore on the issue. And there's another man, Dershowitz, sorry, who was the attorney.
Hang on, I've got some footage of him defending himself on the Today Show. Can you guys?
I want to talk about that.
Okay, can you guys clip to that, and we'll go back to let me just set it up, Anahita. Then we'll go. Anahita, you're smiling, but I want to know, what is it she's hiding behind a litigation veil? What do you say?
If she's making these statements and these allegations in a lawsuit or as comments that are part of another person's lawsuit, she can't be sued for defamation because she's protected by the litigation privilege.
We need to. Whoa! I never heard of that. Can we undo that law? Is that not the most insane law I've ever heard of? So you can slander the hell out of somebody so long as it's in a litigation?
It's a very strong privilege.
That's a terrible privilege. That's ridiculous.
That's why, Dr. Drew, let me just mention this. That's why Dershowitz, it's going on every single TV show, and he's challenging her. Come and make these statements out of the arena of a litigation.
Maybe her attorney is doing us all a favor by bringing this whole thing to light and maybe taking issue with the litigation. What do you call litigation? What? Privilege?
The litigation privilege.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Karama, wait a minute.
And I'm sure something is going on here.
Right, but she's accusing him of basically raping her, having sex with her while she's underage. He's saying, look, I have evidence, I have documents that will prove categorically that every allegation you made against me is untrue. Let's say that's true for one moment. Wouldn't that make you question her veracity with respect to the allegations she's making against the prince?
Unfortunately,
I would think so.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to say that it's
that. Anahita, in your heart of hearts, can't you go there too?
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, we know Epstein was guilty. He pleaded guilty, but we don't know if these allegations against the prince are true. And certainly Dershowitz is going on the record saying, look, I have evidence. Here it is. I'm making these statements on TV, not in a court system.
Okay. But Anahita, wouldn't you young girls
or manipulate at least?
Manipulate.
But there's a lot at stake here for him to make those statements on the record.
More on these Grumpy cat, is that next for the President of the United States? Would that trouble you at all?
Sadly,
is this a publicity stunt just to show how hip the president is, Anahita?
I don't even think that's funny. Sadly, it seems like that's the direction we're going. And no offense to the YouTube stars, but, we're talking about the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the free world. We're talking about the State of the Union speech, which is supposed to be a very serious policy speech. And then the president decides to sit down with a woman who's on YouTube who's famous for eating spoonfuls of cinnamon and gagging and sitting in bathtubs filled with milk and eating cereal out of the bathtub.
Anahita.
I'm sorry, I think it demeans the office of the presidency.
Dr. Drew. Okay, Anahita, first of all, did you watch it today?
I watched tidbits of it.
Okay, you need to watch all of it because Glazell, the one who did the cinnamon challenge, she actually asked some very...
Let me ask the question this way. I've seen documentary on President Kennedy, several of them, that talk about his relationship with television and how novel and bizarre everyone thought that was, and how clear he was that was where the future lay in terms of reaching an electorate. maybe we're looking at the same thing, and we're the same old fogies looking at the YouTube that were criticizing President Kennedy for going on, oh my God, television and talking to television journalists. They weren't real journalists.
I don't think I'm an old fogey here. And if the idea is let's reach out to the millennials, let's reach out to the younger generation. Well, he has a YouTube channel, he has an Instagram, he has social media. I actually condone that. But the fact is, this woman has green lipstick. So she called. You guys, let me finish. She called the police Popo as she was speaking to the president.
Right, but
there's a time and a place for that.
Anahita.
That's how you reach. That's how you reach.
Don't you wait? Really, Caleb, Sam, don't you just? Really, Caleb, Sam, don't you just love Anahita? Come on.
I love her. Are you kidding me? We're getting drinks after the show. But Anahita, don't bash it.
Give me last thoughts here. You live in YouTube.
You know, this is terrible.
No, is the suggestion that millennials aren't interested in policy issues? They're not interested in politics?
No, but this is where they're discussing
pay
it.
attention if there's someone with green lipstick talking to the president? That's insulting,
Okay,
Dr.
listen,
Drew.
I want everyone to vote at our HLN